The Desmo 450 is here to demolish, decimate, destroy all the other competition. Starting off with a bang. Could this be the steed that replaces a certain rider that has to kickstart his motorcycle come 2026? You know Ducati is not going to spare the expense of not having a high-profile athlete be their front-runner, showcase, phenom, marketeer, influencer, rider. They're coming to the United States to win, and who would they pick? Most everybody else has got locked in contracts. This would be something that would fit the bill perfectly for an independent contractor like Ken Roczen. And if I am speculating, could that open the door maybe for somebody like a Tomac? Yes, his deal with Star is coming to a close. Will he make it to 2026? Those are all things that are up in the air. But I could see him doing a last hurrah if the money is right on something like this, because this, to me, seems like a evolution in motorcycle technology because it's mixing the best of both worlds. And that is a good segue to which ones are they mixing? It's KTM and Honda. If I'm just looking sheerly at the chassis to me looks like a effing Honda. If we just have it side by side, you can definitely tell by the frame. The KTM has a distinguished frame that looks completely different than the Honda. If I put those two together, get this here. Yeah, the Honda to the KTM frame, very different. And the swing arm is also much different than the Austrian bikes. But this swing arm, look at where that pivot bolt is there for the linkage. That to me looks arguably very close to what the Ducati has. So it looks like the major frame looks more like the Honda, but the swing arm itself looks more of like the Austrian motorcycle, the KTM, which is interesting. And therefore, it makes me wonder what kind of pieces and parts are underneath here. Ducati says that this is the Desmo's valve system that they've had on their street bikes, which enable them to get to 20,000 RPM. I don't know if a 450 is going to be standard with something like that. That's going to be able to maintain that level of like the two-stroke, just run it, rip it as high as you possibly can, just throttle pinned, and it's not just chugging along. But I've heard things with this new valve system that it does bring a lot of low-end torque, which to me just seems too good to be true, with having both high-end and keep pulling under high RPM and then also the low-end torque. Because if you've ridden a street bike, you know that those suckers make absolutely no power until you get that thing zinging at the 15,000 and above RPM range. But here, what are some other things that look interesting on this motorcycle that have some stuff that has a lot to do with the Austrian bikes? For one, it's the Brembo brakes. I love Brembo brakes. They are so well manufactured. I really only trust Brembo. They do such a good job with their bikes. That's one of the main reasons why I ended up getting myself a Husky. And these levers, to me, these are straight up right out of anything that you buy off of a KTM. The foldable levers, that they're just nice. The hydraulic clutch system is beautiful. Very well built. Everything that they do over there in Austria is good. And you know, an Italian manufacturer, they're going to make sure that this stuff looks just as nice and is going to be built to perfection. That's why I really think that somebody like a Ken Roczen would be silly to not go with this manufacturer. These guys are going to race the Italian series in 2024. Then they're going to be MXGP in 2025. And then in 2026, they're going to have the homologation rule, because I believe most of the bike parts or the production on this deal is going to be handled in 2025. And here in America, for the homologation for MXGP, that rule doesn't apply. So this is just a cool looking prototype that I'd like to see what actually is the inner workings here, because to me it looks like a Honda frame with a KTM motor and KTM swing arm, and you've got the Hapakovich slip on, and well, honestly the intake valve, gosh, what does that motor look more like? Does it look more like a KTM or more like a Honda? To me, it looks more like a KTM. And that's just my first impressions of this motorcycle. Yes, do I think it is going to be the most expensive 450 on the market? 1,000 effing percent. However, there is a saying that we all know, you get what you pay for. And getting something like this, it is going to be very, very special. It is going to be, in my opinion, the Triumph killer, the Austrian killer, the Japanese killer. This guy is going to come out here and take over. One, brand recognition. Ducatis around the world is up there just with Harley Davidson. It's just this, you're a higher level profile person if you have a Ducati. There's just something that the stigma that sticks with it is pretty cool. So for that reason, I kind of want a Ducati. This guy also has a bunch of the Italian stuff with the Get ignition. Interesting that they're going with Showa forks, but Showa, again, is that Japanese brand, I believe, that has just done wonders throughout the motorcycle industry forever. So it makes sense as to why they would do this. To me, this looks as if Honda and KTM had a baby. The best of both worlds. Boom, you have this. So why wouldn't you want to buy this motorcycle just for that reason, that you get both worlds? I want to know what you guys think in the comments below. And as always, on your way out, hit that subscribe button and like button. WFO the YouTube algorithm so that this gets shown to more people.